From doing your ACL by slipping in the shower to breaking a leg tripping over a wide fence, today we're going to be taking a look at some of the weirdest and strangest off-the-field AFL injuries that we've seen from players in the past. We start things off with Levi Greenwood in 2010 when he got a toe injury from getting it caught in his tracksuit pants and then he twisted it walking down the stairs. He quoted that he was at home in his trackies coming down the stairs and his toe got caught up in the leg of his pants and it twisted. Unluckily for him, it was the eve of the 2010 season and the fractured toe forced him to miss 2 to 3 weeks before it started. Next up, we've got another foot-related injury. This was Garrick Everton in 2011 where he suffered an ankle injury by tripping over a sprinkler at a park. This injury unfortunately forced him to miss 8 weeks, including the first 4 weeks of the 2011 season. Another Docker suffered a bizarre ankle injury only a year after, and this time it was Nat Fyfe, and he managed to do this in even a weirder way. He managed to roll his ankle whilst playing with a footy in his hotel room by slipping on a suitcase. Now, this incident actually occurred in the lead up to a game in their hotel room, a game against the Crows, and this incident forced him to miss that game, which was incredibly annoying for him at the time, and I'm sure for all Freo fans, since he already had missed a chunk of games, 12 games in fact, and that was due to a shoulder injury that he incurred earlier that season. Now, this one is arguably even worse. In 2017, Rampe literally broke his arm after trying to leap over a chain fence, but tripping instead whilst out on a run with his teammate. It was literally just a regular Monday on the park with his teammates going on a run and something like that occurs. Unfortunately for Rampe, this incident literally occurred after round 1 of the 2017 season. It wouldn't be until round 9 of the footy season against the Saints where Rampe made his return on the park. The incidents only get more bizarre, and how random is this? Josh Kennedy from the Eagles had to miss 2 games of footy in 2011 due to bleeding in his eye after he was accidentally hit in the eye by a tennis ball thrown by teammate Dean Cox.
3 errors. Oh my goodness. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh, I think we're at the end here. Oh, that's such a shame. Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
And this is something that you just don't want to see.
This is the worst nightmare.
Like, how does a situation like this even come about? I'm genuinely wondering, why was the tennis ball even brought up in this situation to begin with? Like, I would have been extremely pissed off if I was Josh Kennedy to miss a game because of that. Now, perhaps even more random was the reason why Steve Johnson was sidelined, and he apparently fell from a fence and badly rolled his ankle at a pub in Torquay way back in 2003. It was apparently reported that he was kicked from the pub at the time and tried to jump back the fence to get in, of course failing miserably. Luckily for him though, at this time the incident occurred during December in the off-season, so he didn't really miss any footy as a result, but he did get a pretty bad rolled ankle, which for him was at least 4 weeks on the sideline. Now, literally in his first season at his new club of the Eagles, how's the luck here? Sharad Wellingham damaged ankle ligaments after bouncing on a bloody trampoline and landing awkwardly on his ankle. The incident occurred in February of 2013, however he wouldn't play his first game that season until round 6, which tells me that that bouncy castle or that trampoline injury was worse than once anticipated. Now, this is certainly one that I remember more fondly, and more recently in 2021, we saw one of the more unexpected concussion injuries. Max King was just having a round of golf with his mates at Brighton, just a nice relaxing day of golf, and then all of a sudden, out of the blue, out of nowhere, he gets struck in the head with a stray golf ball out of nowhere, and unfortunately for him meant that he had a concussion, and this literally occurred in the week leading up to their first clash in round 1, and of course due to the recent AFL concussion protocols, he was forced to miss 12 days, which included St Kilda's round 1 opening clash, which I was lucky enough to be there for, to see us beat the Giants. Now, I'd have to say a more severe concussion occurred when at the time Roo Josh Gibson slipped over in the shower, which left him with bleeding in the brain, which he described as a blur. Now, the hit on the head forced him unfortunately to miss a large chunk of the 2007 season. He missed 12 games. He wasn't playing from round 10 to round 22. Luckily for him at the time, North Melbourne made the final, so he was able to get a few extra games of footy in that season. I tell you what, that would have been pretty bad, and according to some, it was apparent that Gibson was actually having sex in the shower during the time of injury. If that is the case, that's poor form, Gibbo. Before we continue, I have a mission for you all. We are just over 100 subscribers away from 24k, and the goal is to hit that before the end of January. We've got 5 days left to do it, and if you've been enjoying this video as of this point, then check us a sub, as it would be absolutely amazing. If we get 24k subs by the end of Jan, I'll do a 24-hour stream to say thanks. Now, I feel like this would be a story that some would probably remember, particularly the Freo fans. They've been featured quite a few times in this list. I don't know why, but during the 2019 off-season, David Mundy suffered a broken leg in one of the weirdest of ways. He sustained a fibular fracture above his left ankle when a bloody bike pedal smashed into his leg when he was just casually going on a bike ride with his kids. Luckily though for Mundy, he only managed to miss the one game, and that was particularly thanks to the COVID-19 break, and he managed to continue playing footy from round 2 onwards just like nothing happened. In the 2007 pre-season, Mark Coolin, I think that's how you pronounce his name, suffered a reoccurrence of his ACL injury from the dumbest of all ways, genuinely the dumbest of all ways, by slipping in the goddamn shower. Just imagine you did your ACL, but that was the reason. It didn't happen on the training track, didn't happen on the footy field, it happened whilst you were taking a shower. Unfortunately though for Coolin, he missed the entirety of the 2007 season as a result of this, and he never really returned back to his 2003 best and fairest form for the Tigers after getting delisted a couple seasons later in 2009. This one occurred over 30 years ago, but during the 1992 pre-season camp for the Adelaide Crows, they organised an obscure motivational exercise where players were meant to walk across a 10-metre pit of burning coals. Of course, you could see that this wasn't the greatest idea in hindsight, and it certainly was the case, as when Nigel Smart decided to walk across those hot burning coals, of course, as you could probably guess, he suffered severe first-degree burns to the soles of his feet, and he wouldn't play another game because of that until round 7 in 1992. Kind of ironic how his last name is Smart, yet he goes on and does something as dumb as this. Now, in 2018, Keller Mills suffered a broken leg. All he was doing was just throwing an American football with teammates after a training session when he tripped and fell, and unfortunately suffered a broken leg as a result of this, which forced him to miss the remainder of the 2018 season, because I think this did occur around May. Unfortunately, the reason behind all this and how he actually broke the leg in the first place, he apparently stumbled on some uneven land on the grass and rolled his foot and broke a bone as a result of it. We now get to the final bizarre injury of the list, and perhaps the strangest injury of the lot, to be honest. We've got Sam Durden, who was sidelined for 10 weeks after he cut his little pinky finger, with a knife as he was attempting to open a packet of food. I won't lie, when I saw this I was like, surely not. Surely it was only like a small little paper cut. No, he missed 10 weeks of the 2018 season. And I won't lie, out of all the injuries we've seen on this list, this is, in my opinion, the most embarrassing of the lot. Like, there's no cool story to come out of that. Like, oh yeah, how'd you sustain that cut finger? I don't know what I would have done if I was Sam Durden, but I'd probably just cop it on the chin. Anyways, guys, that is all I have time for. They're all the injuries that I had time to discuss. I'm sure there are more that I haven't talked about that I've missed, so if you've got any that you can particularly remember, let me know down below in the comments and tell me which ones that I did miss. And for those who learned something new, which injury of the lot shocked you the most? Appreciate everyone for watching the video, and we'll see you very soon in the next one. Cheers.